The war has begun, and the forces of evil now plunge themselves into Middle-earth, looking to destroy everything in their path. Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Jackie Fish, and welcome back to another Total War Rise of Mordor online battle. This is not the continuation of the Gundabad series. That battle has not been played yet. I believe it's actually being played today, so hopefully we'll be able to see if the dwarves can take back Mount Gundabad in that amazing series. If you haven't checked that out already, I'll go ahead and link the first episode down below in the description. It's a really cool interactive, I guess, battle scenario that goes across multiple battles. However, today we have just an exciting battle. We have a 3 vs 3 good versus evil, 3 evil factions going up against 3 good factions, and we also have a very large cavalry force from Rohan, which will be making its entrance into the battle. And yeah, I mean, this is some very good cavalry that they have to offer today, so I'm excited to see just exactly what these 10,000 spears can do. Half of what I expected. Also, as well, it's quite cool as well. There's tents out there from a nomadic battlefield. That is quite cool, actually. It's almost as if they have a battle camp. So we take a quick look at the forces. Obviously, we do have the forces of Mordor right here. Uruk Throng marching forward. Again, gotta praise. I always have to do this. Praise the new armor for the orcs. They look really good, nice and bright, but also keeping that evil aesthetic. It makes these replays so much better, and I can't wait for them to do this, hopefully with all the other evil factions, just to make them stand out way more, which is always nice. We also have the Easterlings with their Warlords of Rune, obviously a very strong shock infantry unit, and some really solid frontline infantry as well. And then finally, on the extreme flank, we do have the forces of Dol Guldur right here. So again, a very aggressive faction, a faction that can really get themselves stuck in and do a lot of damage in this battle. Going up against them, we do have an army from Rohan over here on the right-hand side. I'm pretty sure they pretty much only, yeah, they have some infantry, but obviously they spent a lot of their money on all of that cavalry on the right-hand side, with a handful of other spearmen scattered throughout here with some archers. Again, Rohan don't really have access to any form of infantry besides like spears. They have like an axe infantry and then like a sword infantry, and that's literally it. Compare that to the dwarves, which are going to be defending the center of this battlefield, and all they have is shock infantry. Seriously, is just kind of stockpiled up. I think they have like 8 different units, and each one of them units is very good indeed. So they're going to be going ahead and situating themselves in the center of the battlefield. More spearmen, crossbowmen, and all that lovely stuff. And then finally, on the extreme right-hand side, we do have the elves from Rivendell. And they, again, have decent spearmen, very good archers, and some very good shock infantry. The Linden elves, actually, I believe, do not have any sword and shield infantry. It's just either shock infantry or spear infantry that they get access to at the current stages of their development in their roster. However, these units are extremely scary. Also, something to note as well is that there is only 90 soldiers in a unit for the elves. They have very small but high quality units, and again, that plays a big part, especially when you're going up against 3 evil factions like this, who, as you can see, are absolutely covering the battlefield right now just with sheer numbers, and the forces of good are having to play that very defensive setup right now, having that kind of line like so, curving in just to kind of obviously make their numbers that little bit more effective. And also, as we're seeing, the men of Rohan are actually being pushed back by the evil cavalry that are throwing themselves into the fray, almost like daring Rohan to come and engage them. But this is a smart idea not to take this bait. You know, this land is going to be overrun very quickly by the forces of evil. You know, they're going to be able to get these spearmen and infantry and all manner of soldiers to go and support this cavalry fight, whereas the forces of good are very much pinned into this section of the battlefield. They're not going to really be able to send soldiers out to help in a cavalry fight, so playing very defensive is actually a really smart move by them, and something you actually definitely do have to respect, because they just do not have the numbers to send themselves out here. And you never want to be fighting a cavalry fight like here, where the other person can get infantry into the engagement before you can. And they are bringing over some halberds and other stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, when you're fighting a superior force, you really do want to be trying to have that cavalry engagement like here, where you can send forces and the enemy are going to be getting, you know, kind of like a bit more stuck, I guess. We are getting some Erebor halberds, though, being supporting in here on the forces of Rohan. One of the nice things about the Rohan force, though, is they do have a lot of these Guardians of the Golden Hall, so some heavy elite spearmen, but if they do get stuck into the cavalry fight, can definitely help kind of push that advantage into their favor even more than it normally already is. Oh yeah, we also should probably take a nice little close-up look as well at the cavalry here. You can see that, you know, it's this very, very good Knights of the House of Ale. Really, really strong cavalry just across the board. Knights of the Mark here as well. And I assume we'll have some more. And I mean, they're trotting forward. I'm not sure if this is a good idea to fight this cavalry engagement in the open field like this. You really want to try and draw the enemy into you. I think right now they are just moving up a little bit closer, posturing a bit, kind of almost trying to bait the enemy cavalry in, because I imagine if this cavalry gets too close, it'll definitely be struggling. There's a unit of archers up here as well, probably going to be edging itself in range just to try and get a few volleys off. But again, it's not a bad idea if if this gets too close, just to then quickly just charge their way in, because right now this cavalry has pushed its way forward very aggressively just so they can get these couple units of archers in range, I assume. And if you have a fight here, then all of this army could just shift, and I don't think Rohan will be able to, because they'd be pinned down by just the sheer number of soldiers. You know, if you take a look at the forces of the Uruks, 190, literally 100 more men than the elves have in a unit, meaning they can just cover so much more distance. Even a faction like Rune, for example, have 140. That's 50 more men than the elves have in their unit. So it really does tend to add up. And here we go, a cavalry engagement. I do not think this is a good idea. If I was the forces of evil, I'd be taking this fight right now. It does seem like the 7th CI are pulling back, and the cavalry is about to get smashed. Nice maneuvering there by the forces of Rohan. However, they're going to find themselves in a tricky situation, as we do have the 7th CI turning around as the cavalry clashes in. And I would see almost immediately we are seeing the Uruk spears rushing their way forward. The servants of the eye, an extremely strong cavalry. We do have some more Rohan cavalry pushing through the gaps, looking to obviously outflank their opponents. However, standing still is not going to be the thing you need to do right now. You need to get this cavalry engaged round the flanks as quickly as possible. Another cavalry charge here into some of the what are these, phantoms? Yeah, phantom units right there. A beautiful charge ripping through them. You know, cavalry in a brace formation like that is never going to do well whatsoever. Sorry, cavalry's going to do really well in a situation like that where the infantry just is not braced, and boom, there we go. The lines have now clashed, but as you can see, just look at how many soldiers. I mean, I say that, there is a big engagement right here. Yeah, if I was these guys, I would just completely commit my entire army to this whilst this fight is going on. You can see, though, a lot of spears have been brought to this fight, much more than the forces of Rohan can commit to this fight. The general is actually pulling out. The Bane of a Step falling back right here, which is, I don't think it's a great idea. And Rohan are going to be able to really get a nice charge off here onto these Mirkwood trackers, who are going to just get absolutely obliterated there. Rohan taking no quarter whatsoever. And yeah, ripping through them. More servants of the Ivo being committed out of it. You obviously really don't want to overcommit your units. I don't understand what they're doing. Like, just commit men here, and this battle is literally yours. Like, just commit like half your army here. What's Rohan going to do? Break this formation, and then there's a massive gaping gap to be completely outflanked? Like, literally all you need to do is just throw forward these soldiers, and this will be looking very good for you. You can see, though, even without them reinforcements, you're seeing these fights because Mordor and Gundabad and other factions were able to reinforce with spears a little bit quicker. They're turning the tide of these battles, and the Servants of the Eye cavalry is such a strong horse. They're really able just to dominate these battles. And this is, again, one of the main reasons why you shouldn't engage when you've got a smaller force. You never want to fight out in the middle ground. You never want to be fighting out in the open, because you're seeing exactly why. The enemy can just reinforce them battles with infantry. And that makes such a big difference. These phantoms going in against cavalry that's already engaged is absolutely huge. And realistically, I think like way more of these units should be committed, because it's not like these guys are going to move at all. If they do, then it's just, that's the battle GG right there. So you really can throw more soldiers forward. And even without like these soldiers coming in, the cavalry fight is just being dominated right now because of all these smaller units of spearmen. Obviously the cavalry does a great kind of thing on the charge. But after a bit of time, the Rohan cavalry is just being out kind of maneuvered. Almost like Alexander in all his famous battles, bringing light cavalry and spearmen to these fights. That's exactly what you need to do in these total war battles, and able just to really, really dominate the battle. Because one of the nice things as well is if you can bring that them spearmen to the cavalry engagements as well, what you can do is also split off cavalry and rear charge. You can use your spearmen to hold the cavalry in place, much like Alexander did historically. You know, he would disengage his cavalry whilst the spearmen engage them. And you can do that in these battles as well. And yeah, right now you can see it is not looking too good for them whatsoever. A big push right there. Some of the remnants of the Rohan cavalry, though, looking to make their way in. And just kind of try and protect their dwarven comrades as they retreat from the battlefield, getting the hell out of there. And yeah, now they are in full-on retreat. Obviously, these forces can pursue them in full force. And, you know, again, these archers, these yeomen of the mark are not going to really stand a chance. But the cavalry, are the men of Rohan going to try and defend? I'm not too sure. It seems like the gear lancers are going to get themselves stuck in and just really punish them for this overstepping of the mark. And yeah, they're in full-on retreat right now. And, you know, this would not have happened. If they would have had this cavalry fight, like, right here, the battle would have been very, very different, I think. And they would have been able to, you know, at least match them with their units and be able to send their reserves over there and do a lot more. Because, yeah, there's just so much over here. Some more cavalry wrapping around as well. You got cavalry running down these yeomen of the mark. In the center as well, dwarven crossbows are breaking. And this is looking a little bit shaky right off the bat. Oh my god. I mean, I guess they only have 5,000 men. Yeah, I mean, this is just so telling. Like, they literally outnumber, the forces of evil outnumber the forces of good by over 4,000 men. Like, that's kind of crazy. And yeah, hopefully this has been a good learning experience. When you're outnumbered by 4,000 men, you do not want to be fighting out here whatsoever. And I'm surprised the rest of the battle hasn't kicked off. And oh yeah, you can see they are on full-on retreat now. Seeing that flank completely cave in, you are seeing the forces of good really pulling back their battle line. Are they going to literally noob box up? Oh no, please don't do it. I mean, the battlefield, luckily, you know, that they're playing, I assume they're playing with like rules that you can't just redline. To a major extent. Yeah, it seems like they're completely curving in this flank now. I mean, what a heroic, horrific loss right there. Losing that cavalry is going to really come back to bite them. And now we're seeing the rest of the army moving forward. Okay, they've managed to reform the battle line almost into a new box. You know, obviously losing that cavalry was absolutely huge. So this is probably one of the best things they can do at this point. Now the garrison of the Hornburg are volleying off arrows, trying to whittle down the enemy assault. But here it comes. And unfortunately, I do not think they're going to be able to truly defend every position that they have. So we do have some of the orc warriors now throwing their way forward and clashing into the elven spears. I mean, the elven spears should find themselves more than capable of dealing with this. However, we are getting soldiers actually able to kind of utilize these gaps quite efficiently right here. Oh, it does also look like we have a Knight of the Mark who survived that initial onslaught, able to clash themselves in and rip through some infantry lines. However, they will be taking heavy casualties as they try and pull out of this engagement. The orc numbers are just so thick in these 190-man blobs that the cavalry get stuck on them, and as they pull out, they just take so much damage. And as you can see, that unit is getting very, very low and is actually quite close to actually routing. The cavalry has managed to find its way around and is just kind of harassing, trying to embed itself in the enemy lines, but obviously fighting Guardians of the Golden Hall, it's going to be decently difficult to break them. A lot of archer fire coming in as well. And, you know, just with this sheer numerical advantage, the evil units do have a very nice setup here just to outmaneuver and utilize that. My god, this is a big assortment of enemy forces right here. And the dwarfs are being pushed to breaking point. I mean, the cavalry is being lobbed in as well. This is not exactly a great idea. We have some of the dwarven axemen as well, throwing themselves forward to fight the Goldor Blades. They have been commissioned to take this line. There's some of the Goblin Trackers as well. I mean, this is easy pickings right here for the Dwarfs. Not something they're going to have to struggle too much with. You know, this unit is, you know, obviously very, very under-equipped to deal with them. The Eastlings, however, will have a much better time with it. One of the best solid infantry, mid-tier infantry units in the game, I would say, would be the Loke Rim. The unit we are seeing right now. Did one of the generals go down? Oh no, who's general? Probably Theoden? Or was that the... Actually, that was probably the Mordor general going down. Wow, that was really bad. How the hell did he die? It looks like he's just like run across spikes or something here. That's going to be a big hurt for at least the Goldor general or the Mordor general. That really is. And we are seeing the ultimate noob box now. like the hexagon noob box being set up. More of the orcs going flying in against the elven formation. The elves are set up in a nice setup though. I don't understand how like the cavalry is still like dominating this battle. Like seriously, like, there should be no respite for this to happen whatsoever. The cavalry should be there to stop them immediately. You know, like you don't have to use your cavalry. You can just basically sit your cavalry here. Like, literally, all you have to do if you have a cavalry advantage, just sit your cavalry here, and then they've got, well, 5 units just waiting here, or so you smash in one side of the battlefield. So, really nice move there by the Riders of Rohan. King Theoden himself able to get some serious kills on that battle line right there. But yeah, when the enemy noob boxes up, all you have to do is leave a couple units to force them to make sure that they hold the line there, and then just hammer in one flank until that flank collapses, and then you pour through. Because the strength of a noob box is that it protects every side. But if you leave 3 of the 4 sides alone and you heavily focus down one of them sides, that side's going to collapse because, you know, it's not as strong as, you know, as a normal line. So you have to put loads of pressure on one flank and it will crumble. And then you just have the cavalry protecting everything else. Really nice move here, though. Seizing the gap in the noob box to get some of these shock infantry round the side. And yeah, this is very nice indeed. You are getting a unit of the warlords. Oh no, they're turning around. Why are you guys turning around? Engage the mansion reclaimers. Obviously, these are still heavy dwarfs, which are not a good unit. But you want to be able to get that charge off on them. If you expect to win that battle, you really want to get that charge off onto the elite dwarven general unit. This unit is extremely scary. Beautiful capes, of course. And definitely a difficult unit to bring down. That is for sure. But as you can start to see, the dwarfs are crumbling a little bit over on this side. That's why more reinforcements are being set. And like, look at that. You know, the noob box is getting pushed closer and closer in. Arrow fire is coming in. You've got more reserves. You just have to really utilize this cavalry. You know, this is a perfect opportunity to come flying in like right here. Now you can see a gap. Just smash into that. You'll do decent damage to the airable halberds. You know, just keep on bringing up more and more soldiers. We also have a unit of the golden guards of the Golden Hall just segregated out here. This is where the cavalry should be going, you know. Cavalry hitting back here. That's a free, expensive unit taken care of. And just really try and use this cavalry effectively just to really pick at the enemy lines. You don't have to overcommit it. You just have to kind of like throw it in on the gaps where you do see. Right now, though, the elves are in an extremely good position. They're able just to be fighting these orcs one-on-one, which is always going to end up in a very good favor for them. You know, they only really struggle when you can outmaneuver them and outflank them, because you can obviously situate like one Uruk unit to two Elven units. And obviously that Orc unit's not going to win, but it's going to do a decent job. But right now, the Rohan cavalry, after suffering that pretty major defeat, is doing a very good job indeed. Obviously losing that general as well is pretty catastrophic. And you can see this new box is constantly closing in, but that morale is really hurting for Mordor. And I think we're going to see some of these Noldrin swords come flying in and finish off these 2 units. Again, that allows them to like slow this new box bit by bit. And even under the sheer pressure, like there's a big gaping hole right here now as well. You can get some cavalry through there maybe. Get some cavalry through there. Try and help out. But yeah, this general unit is doing a pretty good job. 86 kills right now. Another charge into the Uruks as they push themselves forward. The halberds doing a great job. More lines hitting hard. I mean, the Warlords of Ruin are actually taking some serious damage considering they are, you know, heavy shock infantry. Some more dwarven battle lines. I mean, it's always beautiful watching the dwarves do their thing. Outnumbered, but never outmatched. That is for sure. I mean, honestly, if you take a look at the balance of power now, yeah, you can see it's actually gone in favor of the forces of good right now. They're still outnumbered over 1,000 men, like 1,400 men. But my God, they are doing decently right now. This new box really coming into play. And yeah, I mean, they kind of did throw away that cavalry advantage that they did have. You know, more cavalry getting pinned down here. Not going to be doing too good. Bane of a Step. Completely surrounded now by the spearmen. Fighting, you know, the Spear Guard of Erebor. They've got some shipwright nobles in here as well. And they're going to take a lot of damage as they pull out of that fight. More cavalry finally pulling through, though. But I really hope they do go for the infantry fights rather than these archers. These archers aren't important. You need to break this new box. You do not need to be going for these archers. You need to go into the back of these battle lines. You know, hit the shock infantry. Allow your soldiers to come through. You need to crack it. But right now, I mean, the forces of good, this new box is just paying dividends. And yeah, the attackers, unfortunately, are struggling to find a breach in it. A big morale kind of shattering going throughout these formations. And even after winning that very good cavalry, that decisive cavalry fight, they're struggling to break this line apart, which is unfortunate. With some of the halberds as well from the Eastlings able to get, you know, hold back the shock infantry. Another charge, dead on charge there. It's not going to be going good. I imagine these halberds have a decent, 147 kills on the halberd. Actually, no, maybe not actually. That was only 60. Yeah, it must be these guys. Yeah, the airable axe warriors of 150. And yeah, I mean, this battle is looking very good for the forces of good all of a sudden. Considering how outmatched they were to begin this battle, they can basically now break this new box and go on the offense. Start sending soldiers around. There's no cavalry left. The cavalry advantage was squandered pretty horrifically right there. We do have a nice little charge here, though, as the Servants of the Eye about to come flying in, trying to kill King Theoden. Theoden will be in here somewhere as well. We have to pin him out. I don't think he's wearing a helmet, but he could be. Maybe he's actually wearing a helmet. I can't see a helmetless warrior. Obviously, the helmet is the most important piece of armor, but sometimes it is just easier to identify the hero on the battlefield when he doesn't. Oh, there he is. Just has a different helmet. You can see him right there. And he is engaged, supported though by some of his shipwright nobles. More envelopments coming around the air. I mean, I cannot see the forces of evil claiming this one. Bands of power looking very, very rough now as well. Man, I was not expecting that. Obviously, the new box is a cheap tactic, but it's a tactic that works. I honestly don't think it's a good tactic either. Like, if you can just understand how to destroy it, it's very easy. All you have to do is just, like, literally just assault one section of the new box. And, you know, this side right here, you just got to think, if you've got like 1,500 men here, 1,500 men here, 1,500 men here, 1,500 men there, like if you just focus your entire army on this section, you know, the new box will get smaller and smaller, and as it does, you just hammer it with cavalry, hammer it with archers. As well as that, your archers can shoot the enemy in the back as well, as they're facing the other way. Your archers can hit them in the back. You just kind of really put loads of pressure on one corner, and that new box collapses very, very quickly. And you just take these efficient engagements. You know, you can knit up your halberds. So it was very unfortunate. But, you know, orcs be orcs, and they charge forward looking for combat. And, yeah, even after that horrific cavalry defeat on the left flank, they managed to bring it back, which was fun because after I saw that, I was like, oh, they're probably going to definitely really struggle now. But no, they were able to bring it back right now. And now we just have a couple units of the Vigir Lancers, or Vigir Archers, sorry, fighting to the last against their elven comrades. And that is going to be GG, I think. Yeah, we just have some of the Loki Rim Macemen still left remaining. But yeah, I mean, honestly, not a decisive victory, but a pretty good one. 1,700 soldiers left remaining is not bad whatsoever. Yeah, brutal stuff. So what we'll do now is we'll jump ahead to the end screen. I mean, battle only has 17 seconds left in it anyway. You'll see the master route coming in. We'll take a look at the kills, and then we'll see what units were the real MVPs. I'm also excited to see what the game clarifies. A valiant defeat, yeah. You know, that was kind of a midway victory right there. So yeah, GG, a nice turnaround right there. It's always good to see, even if it was with a new box. But hey, sometimes you gotta be new boxing. Taking a look at the kills, 106 kills on the General, the Warlords of Rune with 94, 100, 1, 2, 3 right there. Over on the Dol Guldur side of things, Phantom's doing good. They got a lot of kills on the Cavalry, and it was nice to see them supporting. I think this is the perfect unit to support. They're like small in number, but they're very fast, and we can just get stuck in. The rest of the infantry doing okay, 138 kills on them. Finally, for Mordor, they kind of got a bit ransacked there by the Cavalry from right here. Yeah, you can see them doing a lot of damage. And with all of this, like, oh my god, they could have just completely enveloped this army and just put so much pressure on them. But yeah, as you can see, the dwarfs as well, 117 kills, not too bad. Obviously, the cavalry on the other side, 161 is not bad. And then finally for the elves, yeah, really nice stuff. 224 kills on the shipwright nobles, 265 kills on this unit, a lot of archer kills as well. So if you guys enjoyed this battle, make sure you drop a like and a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.